Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, and this is a new concept show that we are doing on the Business Talk Library. And this show is all about helping people understand money when it comes to if you want to grow your business. So in this show, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking some highlights from a very, very popular show, a show that a lot of people love, a show called Shark Tank. Now, in that show, what happens is all of these different business owners with all of their ideas, whether it's a service, whether it's a product or technology, whatever it is, they show up on this show and they give a short presentation to talk about their business, what they do, and then the sharks or the investors or potential investors get to ask them questions, get to really dig in to understand the business, to understand if they are going to actually give this person a investment, or maybe they structure it a little bit different. But what we're going to do on this show is we're going to talk through some of those pitches. Now, some of them are going to be hilarious when you hear the things that are talked about. Some of them are going to be encouraging. Some of them are going to be a great opportunity to learn, like, why did this person get a yes? Or why did this person get a no? And we're going to talk about that. And not only that, we're also going to talk about, hey, what could this person have done differently to actually improve their chances of maybe getting a yes, or maybe they got a yes, but they could have gotten a better deal. Well, we're going to talk about that on this new concept show. Now, in this show, like I said, one of the things that I really, really love about this show is that this show does a great way of giving you an idea of what it is like to actually present your business to someone who isn't a friend or a family member. Now, when it comes down to, pitching your business and sharing your idea with other people, a lot of times business owners spend so much time really just talking to people who already know, like, and love them. For example, I've talked to a ton of people that have said that, hey, I pitched this business to my mom. She really liked it. Or, hey, my family really thinks it's a great idea. Now, the truth of the matter is that they may or may not be giving you an actual honest opinion. Because, see, the thing is, when you're pitching your business to a family member, for the most part, that family member has a lot of different dynamics to think about. Like, hey, I don't want to say something that's going to upset you, or I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt your feelings, that may end up hurting our relationship and may actually impact the family. So they may tell you something and say, hey, yeah, that looks like a good idea, or yeah, that could work. Or they may be interested in the idea that you have, but what they're probably not commenting on is the actual business, the money side of it, the strategy side of it. They're just telling you, hey, maybe the idea is good and I can see that working, but when it comes down to business, what you have to wrap your mind around is your business is not about your idea. Your idea is not the most important part of your business. The most important part of your business is the actual business side of it. Because there are a ton of people who have ideas, but if you don't really have a business around it, then you're probably not going to attract the attention of the right people, and you're probably not going to be successful. Now, that concept is part of the reason that this, first entrepreneur we're going to cover, why this entrepreneur struggled during his presentation or during, his pitch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a couple of clips, and we're going to break the clips up. And what we're going to do is we're going to play clip by clip, and I'm going to talk through it. So here is the first clip that the entrepreneur went through.
But why are you valuing the business at that price right now? We deal in facts today.
This stuff is all working.
What you heard was Daymond John asking a very, very important question. And the question he asked is, okay, all right, you pitched this business and you said that, hey, you want us to invest in this business at X amount of dollars. Now, the very important question that Daymond John is asking is, why do you think this business is worth that much? See, the thing that a lot of people get tripped up on, as I was saying earlier, is they just think about the product. They don't think about the actual business. So when you think about the actual business, let's take a look at what I actually mean by that. And one way to think about it is that every business comes down to 3 essential components. And those components are going to be the product, the people, and the strategy. Now, when it comes down to any successful business, you can really bring it down to these 3 factors. And the thing is, if your business does not really have these 3 factors, the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you really have a business? So now when it comes down to the product, that one is very simple. It can be a physical product, or it can be a service, some type of digital product, or it can be a combination of all of those. For example, like my business is bookkeeping and CFO services. So we provide a lot of services, and we also have some digital products where there's some tools that we created that people can purchase and they can buy and they can use in their business. We currently don't have any physical products, but one example of a physical product would be if I wrote a book to where people could buy a copy of the book or something like that. I mean, you can always have a combination of different things in your business. But if you're going to actually have a good business, you need to be able to understand what's the product? Like, what are we actually selling? I mean, to say it in its most simple terms, the product is, what are people actually going to buy from you or from this business, this venture that you have? Because if you don't have something that people can buy, then you probably don't have a business. Now, number 2, the people. This is where we get a little bit more into breaking it down. And so the way I like to think about it is in 4 sections. There are going to be a couple of aspects of people that you need to keep in mind, or I guess in the people category. I mean, the first one is definitely going to be, it's like, who's going to buy this? See, that's the first group of people that you need to think about is, who is this product for? Who's the target market? Like, who's actually going to be buying this product? The next one is, who or what is going to be producing it? Now that we live in an age of technology, you can have a robot or you can have machines actually make part of the product, or they'll physically make the product, or you can have people in the process that are doing it. But that is an important people question, is who or what is going to produce this? And then we also want to think about who or what is going to sell this product. See, there has to be some type of interaction between, the people who own the product and the people who actually want to buy the product. There has to be some type of interaction there. Maybe you do it all online, or maybe you do it in person. Either way, you need to have that figured out. Like, that is a people component. The other one is who or what is going to distribute it, because it's one thing to buy a product, but you also have to ask yourself, okay, all right, how is this product going to get to the person who bought it? Now, one of the worst things that you could ever do when you're building a business is, let's say, you have a business and, in that business, people go online and they buy the product. But if the product never actually gets shipped to them, or let's say you have a digital product and there's no automatic email that says, hey, here's the link for you to get access to the product you just bought. Like, if you don't close that loop, then what I will say is you won't be in business for long. Now, the next area is going to be the strategy. Now, the strategy is very, very important, because what the strategy is all about is really answering those critical questions, because we've already identified you have a product, you have something to sell, you have the people in place, or the process, or the things, or the process in place to actually produce this. and to actually sell it, to actually distribute it, and you know who you're going to sell it to. Now we got to think about the strategy. It's how are you going to get in front of those people who are going to buy this? How are you going to actually make it? Like, what's the actual process for how you will make it? Let's say, if let's say if you run a restaurant, that would be kind of like, what's the recipes? What's the equipment that you're going to have involved? Like, what's the time? And, what is the process to actually make the product that people are buying? The other thing is, how will you distribute it? Like, what method are you going to use to get the product to the customer? Because if you don't have a way to get the product to the customer, again, this is really going to be a challenge for you. And then you also want to think about, how are you going to finance this thing? Now, a lot of the people that are coming on Shark Tank, they're trying to solve that question. They're trying to figure out, how am I going to fund this business? Like, how am I going to get the necessary money that I need to actually do all the other things, like, reach the prospective customers, like investing in marketing and the prospecting or the production? Like, how am I going to get the money to actually make more of the product? And then distribution, like, how am I going to get the money or the strategy on supporting getting the right relationship so we can get the product out to places? And then the last one, which I think can never be underestimated as part of your strategy, is how will you manage all of this? Because the thing about it is, if you are going to run a business, you have to have all of these elements involved. You have to have the product, the people, and you have to have these strategies. And an important part of your strategy is, how are you going to monitor to make sure that, hey, the product and the service, whatever you offer, that it is available and that it is getting to people? And then also, how are you going to manage the people in that process? That, hey, how are we getting in front of people who can potentially buy this? How are we actually making the product? And then how are we actually getting the product to the people? Like, how are we actually monitoring what price are we actually selling the product for? How are we managing the cost? And how are we looking ahead to the future to make sure that there is going to be no disruption in our product or our people? So when it comes down to whether or not you have a business, you do need to think about all three of these elements. So if we get back to the main point that Daymond John was asking, he was saying, why is your business worth what you are asking for? And, as we just looked, your business is based on the product, the people, and the strategy. Now, the next thing that you should be talking about is the product, people, and the strategy. Well, he's already covered the product. He's already explained that his product is a way that people can protect their packages. So when you have something delivered to your front door, oftentimes the delivery person has to leave it at your front door, and anybody could just come by and steal it and take it. But what his product does is it is a secure lock that when that product is delivered, the delivery person can scan a code on that lock. The lock will open because they have a secure code. They can put your package inside the box, lock it back, and now your package is secure on your doorstep until you get there to pick it up. Now, what also makes this interesting is when you start talking about the strategy, one of the things you want to make sure that you understand is you want to understand who is in the audience. Because when you are pitching your business to potential investors, you need to be prepared for the questions that they may ask. Now, one of the things that did not work out the best for this, business owner is that one of the people who were in the audience was the founder of a company that started off with the name Doorbot. Now, that person actually was on Shark Tank previously and pitched his business. He didn't get a deal with any of the sharks, but then later on, he got some attention from some other potential investors who invested in what he was doing, and Doorbot eventually became Ring Doorbell. Now, one of the big selling points of Ring Doorbell is that a lot of people like the idea that when a package is delivered, that Ring Doorbell is recording everything that's happening on their doorstep. So they already have somewhat of a sense of security around what's happening on their doorstep. So this person really understands what challenges, this person really understands the nature of what is happening on the doorstep. Like, he understands the behavior of the people that this business owner is trying to sell to. So at this point, the business owner has a choice. Is you need to explain to us why your business is actually worth what you are asking for. And again, the business is not just why your product is awesome, but it is why you are going to be able to manage the people and you are going to be able to manage the strategy behind your business. Because if you don't explain that to us, then you're kind of wasting our time, because I just don't believe that your business is actually solid. So let's hear the question and the comment that, that entrepreneur asked him when he was trying to pitch that part.
Explaining why the market is worth something. Yeah, you may see to understand why the business is worth something.
See, again, it goes back to that very, very important point of really asking that solid question of, you are asking us not to invest in your product. You are asking us to invest in your business. So again, how are you going to get in front of the people who can potentially buy this? Also, how are you going to actually find those people? And then once they buy it, like, how are you gonna get this delivered to them? How is this going to work? And see, that's where we ran into a couple of more issues, because one of the things that he talked about in his strategy was, okay, all right, we sell this lock. Okay, that lock is great. But what started to get a little fuzzy is, not only did they sold the lock, but what the customer would also have to buy is they would also have to buy the box separately. So it's like, okay, all right. So you're saying that in order for the customers to use your product, they need to buy your lock and they need to buy this box that is going to sit there. And then not only that, but the delivery companies also have to have access to this secure code to be able to scan this code to be able to unlock the lock, put the package in the box, lock it back, and then move on. Now, this creates a lot of interesting dynamics of, now you actually have to change the behavior of not only your customer, because your customer has to buy the lock and the box, but you also have to change the behavior of the delivery company. So now it may be the U.S. Postal Service that delivers. It may be FedEx. It may be DHL. It might be UPS. It might be a Amazon driver. It may be a Uber delivery. It may be any other type of delivery mechanism, or you say delivery service. And the thing is, your business is going to not only have to entice customers to buy the lock and the box, but you're also going to have to get all of these delivery companies to change the way they are doing it. And also, by the way, is, what if my package is too big to fit in this box? Then what happens? Now, this entrepreneur did not have a solid answer for that question at the time. So it's one of the reasons why I do think that as you're thinking about your business and as you're pitching your business, you not only need to understand what is your business, you need to really have good clarity on what's the strategy in the business. Because if you start getting questions about the strategy and the execution, and you cannot deliver on those things, the chances of you getting a yes is going to be very, very slim. So now, after all of that exchange, there was one final chance that they gave this entrepreneur to explain, why is your business worth what you are asking for. And this was his final chance to explain. So let's hear what he had to say to explain why he believed his business was worth what he was asking.
To be able to, as I said, solve a problem that no one else has been able to solve.
But that's the reason it's worth money.
Real facts like I have this amount of sales, these amount of patents, real facts.
He went back to the same approach of explaining why the industry was great. He explained why the problem was a big deal. And then he explained, how big of a problem this is for the customers and how the customers need a solution. But again, it failed to connect the dots between, all right, we get that this is a problem. We get that a lot of people have issues with this. But what we don't get is why your business is actually the right fit for our money and why your business is in a unique position to actually solve this problem. Because it's one thing to have a big problem in a big industry, and it's one thing for there to be a huge need. But what you also have to explain is why your product is in a unique position to be able to solve that problem. Because if you can't do that, then you're probably not going to be able to convince other people that your business is a good deal. So now if you find that you are falling into this similar thing when it comes down to your business, here's a resource that I definitely want to tell you that can help you with that. And it is a book called The E-Myth Revisited. The reason why I bring this book up is because this book does a really good job of helping people who don't understand how to look at the business of what they're doing. And the book does a really good job of talking about those aspects and really teaching you about the business side of what you do. Because if you are solely focused on the industry or you're solely focused on your specific product, you're probably going to have a challenge and a struggle when it comes down to trying to run a business in your field.
Hey, it's your girl, Tia Robertson. I'm the host of Entrepreneur Insider. Right here on RETV, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for entrepreneurs and news that you need to know about. See you there.
on Relationship Entertainment Television, Tuesdays at 8 p.m.
This is Tyron
and Nicole with your weekly RATV news break. Each Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, we'll come to you with the latest news, trends, and more with a positive spin.
We know there's a lot of positive news that doesn't get reported, but we want to give you the opportunity to share your story here on RATV. If you have a positive news story you want us to share, you can submit your story to news@re-tv.net.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Relationship Entertainment Television YouTube channel. Download the new RATV Live app on your mobile device and follow Relationship Entertainment Television on your favorite social media platform.
Don't forget, make sure you tune into the RATV News Break each Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Until then, be blessed and be great.
Welcome to What's Going On? My name is Demita Joe. Each Wednesday, you can find me here at 3 p.m. I'll be over here discussing different things that are going on and try to bring you a boost of positivity for your week because we all need this. We're going to share some feel-good stories. We might find a hometown hero. We may take a look at some trending topic. And sometimes we might even find a lesson in a not-so-warm and fuzzy story if we can. I'm Demita Joe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode right here on What's Going On?